Welcome to Pubcast Live. I'm Ken Thomas, along with my buddy Thor. Pubcast Live is the podcast where we celebrate America's love affair with bars, pubs, and breweries. This is episode 3. You know, we've been enjoying libations here on Earth for about 10 million years. So we may be a little late to the party right here in this studio, but it's happy hour somewhere. Today's program should be a lot of fun. We are going to visit with a bar owner here in the Brainerd Lakes area. Specialty drink is, of course,
the Bloody Mary.
Hello.
What else?
Hello.
We're gonna be visiting with Dan Barrett from the Log Cabin Bar in Emily, Minnesota, just north of here.
Beautiful community. Of course, when you say north of here, we're in Brainerd.
Yep.
Emily is just north of us in northern Minnesota, surrounded by lakes and forests, and it's a beautiful country.
Yeah, it is. It's a great drive up there. Highway 6 is one good way to get there. There's many different ways, but all roads lead to Emily, I guess. Right?
Yes, absolutely.
Somehow.
Hey, you mentioned Bloody Marys. We're going to get to sample one today. When you take beer out of the equation in Minnesota, the number one mixed drink, Bloody Mary.
Bloody Mary.
Is the Bloody Mary. I did a little research on the Bloody Mary, by the way.
Okay.
Turn of the century. They mentioned George Jessel, the old comedian, as one of the guys who first kind of started that as, believe it or not, kind of a hangover remedy.
Sure.
And you can imagine with the tomato juice, it's long been thought of as kind of a remedy for hangovers.
Yep, and a lot of people in the morning, that's their drink of choice.
And since it was first invented as just kind of a mixture of vodka and tomato juice, well, let's just say a lot has been added.
Yeah, there's been a lot of variations on a theme there. And Dan, I think, is going to bring us something today we're going to check into and see how his is.
Yeah, and I'm always amazed at the number of extras that get put into Bloody Marys, although some are purists and just like it pretty straight, with not a lot of vegetables or meat sticks or anything like that.
Yeah, sometimes, they get almost too carried away and it's not about the actual core drink anymore. It gets to be about all the extras, but boy, I love them all. I mean, a big old meat stick and the old celery. You can't go wrong.
You can't. And now there's a whole industry, of course. If you go to any liquor store, you can find the pre-mixed Bloody Mary stuff. And there's several varieties of that where, it used to be just tomato juice way back in the day.
Yeah. And it's hard to imagine. There's probably people, listeners out here of ours that maybe don't have a lot of Bloody Marys or haven't, and they're not sure what that's all about. It's just a great drink. Really delicious.
Absolutely. All right, so I can't wait to talk to Dan. We'll find out more about not only his bar, but about his favorite drink, their top secret up there, the Bloody Mary. Before we get to that, let's remind you that Pubcast Live is brought to you by Giovanni's Frozen Pizza. Great frozen pizza. In fact, you can find over 20 varieties. Now, it's available in bars all over the upper Midwest. Just ask for it by name, Giovanni's Frozen Pizza. It is time on Pubcast Live to talk to our special guest. Today we are visiting with Dan Barrett from the Log Cabin Bar in Emily. Dan, thanks for joining us in studio for Pubcast Live.
Well, it's a pleasure to be here. I think this is great.
Yes, and I want to say thanks right away for the Bloody Marys is what we're having this time around. We always have a little cocktail on the show.
Yeah, a little visual cue for all you listeners. This Bloody Mary is amazing. I'm halfway through it.
Really good.
And it's super good. It's like your secret recipe, or something like that?
It is. It's something that we came up with years ago. I wanted to find a Bloody Mary. All the bartenders, everybody would make it differently.
Yep.
So I wanted to get something that I thought it would stick, and these have really stuck.
Yeah.
So we came up with it about maybe 14 years ago. I've had the bar for 18, and we sell a lot of them.
Yeah.
All right, let's set the stage for our listeners because they might be wondering, where is the Log Cabin Bar?
Log Cabin Bar is located on Highway 6 and County Road 1 in Emily, Minnesota. It's probably about 40 miles northeast of Brainerd.
Mm-hmm.
So it's before Reamer and between Reamer and Crosby.
And you're blessed with a ton of lakes in that area, aren't
A
you?
lot of lakes, and of
Yeah.
course, the most famous one is Emily Lake, and then there's Mary Lake, Ruth Lake. So we have, and a lot of four-wheeler trails and snowmobile trails also.
Yeah.
So
Fishermen in the summer, ice fishermen in the winter.
you bet. Yeah, it's a huge recreation area. I think our population right now is 800 and some odd locals that live there, but come summertime, it must explode to 3,000 or more.
Yeah.
You know,
All
so.
right.
Huge recreating for fall sports too. Hunting, I know deer hunting it's a huge time of year up in that area. Anyone who recreates, like you say, four-wheelers, snowmobiles, fishing. I mean, you get up to this Emily Lakes area. It's just beautiful up there, and look for the log cabin. You can't miss it. I mean, it's literally, you're almost on the street, to be honest, aren't you?
Actually, we are on the street. Yeah, we are right off the street, and been there since, 60s, I think is when.
Yeah.
So
Now, and Dan, you said you've owned the bar for 18 years.
18. It'll be 18 years this coming May. So I never thought I would own a bar that long. I wasn't looking to buy a bar at the time. It just kind of.
So how did
fell
that
in my-
happen? Tell us.
Well, I started working there in about 1998, something like that, and I got to know the owner well, and I fell in love with the bar. I fell in love with the customers,
Yeah.
and I knew he wanted to sell. And to be honest, a part of me wanted to make a living, of course.
Yeah.
And another part of me, I wanted to have it stay in the community, which I felt I was part of, and keep it a local bar.
Right.
And lo and behold, here I am. I thought maybe 8 years would be it, but still there doing it.
It's funny how that works, though.
Yeah,
It is.
So
That's a great story. Were you a bartender there?
I was. Yep, I bartended for a few years before, and decided to buy it. And the owner at the time, he helped me achieve that dream.
Yeah.
You know, so
And I met him, right? It was Frank, right?
that was Frank Gazda.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
I remember him being a really nice guy, too. I met him.
All right, so we've been there before, but talk about this for our listeners to the Pubcast Live. Describe the Log Cabin Bar.
You know, the Log Cabin Bar is a place you walk into, and immediately you will feel welcome. The locals are there, are very friendly. We get that comment, a lot on that. We keep it very clean. We like to serve you quickly. That's one of our signature things. Is I like my bartenders moving, and get things done. But it's a lot of fun. We have pull tabs are a lot. Meat raffles we do 3 times a week, and it's just a really fun, welcoming atmosphere.
Oh, so there's a good chance when you walk in there, you might get involved, be able to be part of a meat raffle. 3 times a
Absolutely.
week. Oh,
Yeah. We do Wednesday nights, Saturday nights, and Sundays.
The other thing I can say is, having been in there, is you're right. You walk in the door, you're immediately comfortable because there's any number of places in the bar you can go. I mean, it's not like cavernous, but I can go to this area if I want a little more privacy. I can belly right up to the bar, and around the backside, it's real cozy on that side of the bar, and it's just a real comfortable place for sure.
Yeah, we've kept up on the remodeling of it throughout the years,
Yep.
and just we like to make you feel welcome.
Yeah, and there's
So
a
we hope you do.
huge patio out back for those that you just built not too long ago. You put a lot of time and effort and money into that patio.
Yeah,
It's
absolutely.
A beauty.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you serve food?
We do. We're kind of a limited menu. One of our things is I've been serving Giovanni's Pizzas since I've owned the bar and have
Good
had a
choice.
really
One of our sponsors.
a great relationship with them actually, and with all my vendors. I think that's important to have a good relationship with your vendors.
Yep.
And but we keep it simple. Chicken strip baskets, wings, stuff like that. More of a bar pub food.
Yeah.
What is the most unusual thing, if you will, as far as decor in your bar right now?
Oh, decor, boy. Well, we have a moose that's been there since the 70s.
Tire moose? Or?
Just the mount, the head of the moose, has been there since I've had the bar.
Yeah. I'm guessing you said several names, huh? Does he
Yeah.
have a formal name or no?
No, he
Okay.
doesn't. I just
All right.
call him Moose. But
That's a good name.
but I
Bullwinkle was taken. So.
I love the history of the bar. So anything I've found in the past, I've displayed throughout the bar. I have pictures and stuff that go back and to 40s, 50s. So it's pretty neat stuff. So
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, before we talk about events, I want to circle back to these Bloody Marys, which we are enjoying because these are really good.
Well, thank you. On some weekends, on a busy summer weekend, we'll sell hundreds of them.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a signature thing. I'm not a big bloody sewer connoisseur or Bloody Mary connoisseur, but I do enjoy ours. So
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about the background. So you make your own Bloody Mary mix because for many people that like Bloody Marys, that's the key.
Right. It's a secret. We keep it to ourselves. I wanted to come up with something with a signature Bloody Mary years ago. So me and a friend, I was bartending that day, and we started working on it, and it was a fun day.
Tinkering.
Needless to say. So we did a lot of tinkering.
Well, I'm picking up some really cool after. I'm not a connoisseur either, but I mean, I'm feeling some heat and a little bit of pepper down in there. Yeah, that's what I like
they're not
too.
too thick and they're not too thin, and so
extremely delicious.
Yeah, it's very good.
Tell how you dress it up.
Well, we have a spice that we put in there that is a top secret that a friend of mine developed. A friend of mine here that lives in Brainerd, and I've been using...
Dan, this is the internet. You can share that secret with us. It's not going to get out there. Nobody's going to.
So we use that, but what we do is we put it around the rim of the glass, and then we garnish it with just a pickle and olives. But we don't get too fancy with it because I think a good Bloody Mary is the Bloody Mary itself, is the mix, so.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to have to go along with you on that because this one is really good.
Well, thank you.
Two thumbs up on your Bloody Marys.
All right.
That's right.
Well, we're going to tell our listeners right now.
Yep.
If you go through Emily, Minnesota, or are anywhere close, you should go enjoy a Bloody Mary at the Log Cabin Bar. They are delicious.
This is what I always say too. When you're going to your destination, I don't care where you're going, there's always more than one way to get there, right? I mean, if you've always run up a certain highway to this piece of land to hunt or to ride, and you've never gone a different route, well, change your route sometimes, mix it up, and go up 6 instead, and you can just cut over right there and get to your land. But it's right there. I mean, that's what I'm saying. We kind of get stuck in that pattern where we all go the same way.
Right.
So, to switch it up.
Since I've been bartending, I've met people who have come through and they remember when their grandfather had brought them through, and they continue. It's just a destination. It's a stop. So,
and being in the vacation area, as you are, you probably see people from multiple states, right, that come through?
Yeah, Illinois and Iowa and Wisconsin, of course, but mostly it's from the Twin Cities. But we get a lot of people from the Brainerd Lakes area, too, that have cabins there.
Right, because you don't have to have a cabin that's 3-4 hours away. I mean, you can just escape an hour north.
What?
And you're there.
All right. You mentioned some regular events like meat raffles and so on. Let's talk about special events. Do you have a special event, a signature event that you guys do?
Well, we started doing what we call an Oktoberfest, but now we call it a Logtoberfest.
Okay, I like that.
And that's always the weekend of MEA.
Yeah.
And we've probably been, it's been, say, I think our 14th year we'd be doing it, and it's gotten to be a huge event. We started out the first year with a barbecue and some brats and a keg of beer outside. Now we have a big beer garden, vendors throughout, and a giant meat raffle. It's turned into a monster in itself.
Yeah.
Where on that given day, we can sell 13,000 tickets, I think is what we did the last time. We didn't have one this previous year because of the pandemic, but before that, it was 13,000 tickets.
Yeah, I want our listeners to realize that's 13,000 tickets the day of. I mean, there's no selling ahead of time.
Yeah, and again, remind us, what's the population of Emily?
800 people. So,
they all bought a lot of tickets.
Right.
Well, like you say, I mean, it's just adds to the fun of Logtoberfest. And I have been to Logtoberfest a few times, and I've actually volunteered in that Giovanni's tent that's there. That's one of the vendors you're talking about. It's just a blast, man. You got DJ late at night, you got music, you got build these huge fires right in the middle of the parking lot. And so you're not going to be cold. There's always a fire to go warm up. And you got the music playing, and you're just Yeah, it's great. It's
we
a
try
lot
to
of
do
fun.
some fun things like the peach eating contest we did, and then we did a beer drinking contest, which is a good time. And it's more geared to an adult kind of fest
Yep.
more than
Sure.
kids, and
Yeah.
it's a really good time.
But I've seen a lot of kids there during the day. There's, you got crafts and you got things set up too. Local crafters come in and set up tables. I mean, it's gotten to be a big deal. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yep.
But you're right. I mean, as an adult, it's a lot of fun.
So focus on beer at the Oktoberfest and food and
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, and then, of course, meat raffle, and then we do virtual horse racing through our Outing Area Chamber of Commerce, who I'm proud to be part of. That
Well, how does that work?
well, the horse races are just kind of like a pull tab where you buy a ticket, and once that game is sold out, we run the race on all of our TVs. They're all connected, and if you have a number that corresponds with the winning horse, then you could win up to $500.
Cool.
oh,
So
that's
it's a good time.
That sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Now let's get back to the raffle tickets, because to sell 13,000 tickets, you're drawing a lot of people to this event. And talk about some of the prizes, how you get the prizes for the raffle tickets, and where the proceeds go.
Well, all our prizes come from Emily Meats, who's right next door to me. That I'm a big fan of Emily Meats.
Great little meat
We are
market.
too. We've been there many
stopped
times.
and bought steaks on the way up fishing, and it's just a great,
Yep.
great little meat market.
Absolutely, and so that's where the Outing Area Outing Area Chamber of Commerce. That's where we get our meat for the log cabin meat raffles, and the grand prize usually is a wheelbarrow full of meat.
Yeah.
So there's probably about $300 worth of meat in there, and you take the whole wheelbarrow and meat away. So it's a fun time.
I've
and
seen it. I've seen them wheel it away. It's incredible. They come out with this huge wheelbarrow.
With a big smile on their
People,
face, too.
people
Yeah.
really get into it, and,
Yeah.
and the proceeds for the chamber they donate. I mean, to the Reamer School District, the Crosby Area School District, all kinds of local charities, and maybe somebody who's locally who's had some hardship.
Sure.
They've stepped up to help. So,
And that's the other thing, on Pubcast Live, we love to talk about here is, a bar like yours in the town of Emily it's not just a bar. I mean, it is one of the central, places for people to meet and congregate and have fun. But at the same time, you're able to hold all these great events that help the area raise funds, charities. And we all got to remember that about our local bars. We got to remember they're not just a place to go drink. It's they're really involved, and you're super involved in that. That's great.
yeah, I can't speak enough for charitable gambling myself. I think just for sponsoring Little League ball or hockey, something like that, that wouldn't be happening if it was not for the bars that have these charitable gambling spots.
And one more thing. I was looking on your Facebook page, I think, and I leafed back a little way, and I saw a picture of, it had to be 50 people with little easels up starting to paint or something. What the heck was I looking at? Your whole bar was full of painting.
Well,
An artist convention in Emily.
actually that
Is that part of this traveling art?
That's the traveling art pub that's located right
Yeah.
in here in
Oh,
Brainerd
yeah.
that,
Yep.
that
Yeah.
we've have them come out.
Yeah.
And then we will have them in the future again.
So what do? They just all congregate, they get ready, and they paint, and
yeah,
how does that
first,
work?
I'm sure they loosen up a little bit with a cocktail or two.
A Bloody Mary.
Yes, and to be honest with you, Thor, I've been usually bartending because my wife wants to be part of that. So, but
I do know how that works.
it does draw a lot of people.
Yeah. So the Traveling Art Pub, people sign up for the event, and it costs some money, but in exchange, you get the art supplies. You show up at an event. They draw and show you how to create a piece of art. Everybody in the place works on the same piece of art, basically. There might be a
Correct.
couple choices.
Yeah, I think
but
there might be. Yeah,
two or three choices
Yeah.
maybe, but everybody tries to work on the same thing while enjoying a few glasses of wine or whatever
Sure.
their choice might be. And by the time you're done, you've got a piece of art that at the time looks really good if you've had enough of the cocktails. No, but it is a lot of fun, and they do this all over central Minnesota, the Traveling Art Pub. I'm really glad to hear they do it up at your place.
Yeah, it's a good draw, and we look forward to having them again.
So that's like I say, that's just one more example how a local bar fills that need, a place for them to do that. So
Yeah, and I noticed also you're really involved in the chamber, and for a small town, that's very important because a lot of people think, well, a bar is a place to drink and socialize, but it is a business, and you're part of that business community in your community, and it's very important to have that.
Oh, absolutely. You know, all the years I've been have owned the bar, there's been so many events and maybe fundraisers that have come through. You forget how many over the years, but it's.
So what happens here on this show is we'll have a lot of your customers will listen to this because they know that Dan's on there, right? Incidentally,
Yeah.
Fran is Dan's wife. She's just beautiful too. So just part of the package when you head up there, but. They're going to listen to this, and what I like about a show like this is they get to hear a little something about you maybe that they don't know when you're just normally rough and tough talking and visiting. And so you mentioned something about when you were growing up in the cities or something. You worked, or what was your connection to Northeast?
Well, I grew up in North Minneapolis,
Yep.
and my grandmother owned a bar called Diamond Lil's.
Diamond Lil's.
And that was on probably where
God, that's a great name.
where West 94 is now. It was off Washington Avenue, if you know the area.
Sure.
And I remember my dad bringing me there when I was a kid, and I can still just remember the smell inside of there. It was, a mixture of popcorn and stale beer. But I could always remember that, and it just seemed like a welcoming smell. It'll always
Sure.
stick with me.
Yeah.
And the characters that would come through there. And she had a parrot there that learned a lot of choice words. And I
Yeah.
remember that as a child, too. So I think I had maybe the business in my blood a little bit.
So you were basically raised by parrots, is what
I
you're
was
trying to say.
kind of, in a bar by a parrot. Yeah. So that's something
Instead
that
of wolves.
Exactly.
At least he learned
So-
part of the English language there,
right.
if nothing else. Yeah. Yeah.
Some of
That's-
those who you know, Dan, and some of his choice words, they came from a parrot now. See, that's what I mean about people finding out something about you.
Well, and it was, too, just like the log cabin is now, it was a local neighborhood place
Yeah.
where people would socialize and come to see each other, and you get to become a family,
Yep.
and it's...
That's cool, though, that you
Yeah.
got to carry that on. And
Yeah, and I think that's always true. The social aspect, especially in a smaller town, that's the local watering hole where everybody gets together to talk and tell stories and just socialize. And that's such a big fabric of what we are as humans, that socialization.
I learned early on in this business, it's a vacation area, that your locals mean everything.
Yeah.
And you have to treat them like gold, and they will treat you like gold.
Yeah.
I mean, that's,
Yeah.
you
Now, you've already answered one of our questions we usually ask everybody. What was your first experience in a bar? And that sounds like it was Diamond Lil's when you were a little kid.
it was Diamond Lil's when I was a kid. I was probably 10 or 11 years old when my
Sure.
dad would bring me there, and
Yeah.
and I remember that. And then when I was legally able to frequent the bars, most of them were in the Northeast Minneapolis area.
yeah.
And then I moved up to Emily and started working at the log cabin and fell in love with it,
Yeah.
and with the people. So
And there you are, 18 years later.
18 years later. So, and they
Sitting
went
in
fast.
Sitting in a studio talking about it.
Sitting in a studio, yeah. So,
Is there anything else that we haven't talked about that would be fun to know about the Log Cabin Bar in Emily?
Ken, I would have to think about that for a while. There's been so many fun things. A lot of them I can't really speak about over the years. At one point, when I first was working at the log early on, when I first bought it, I was actually driving a school bus for Crosby Ironton, and then would come and work at the bar.
Sure.
And I wish I would have started taking notes back then, because I think I could write would have been a great book. Just the everyday experiences with the kids on the bus and the kids at the bar, And now I have kids that I had at my school bus.
Sure.
They come into my bar now, and
Yeah.
it's just, it's great when they point at me and tell their friends, that was my school bus driver.
That is so cool.
So it's really neat.
That is really cool. Yeah. Dan, this has been such a pleasure to have you here to talk about the Log Cabin Bar in Emily. And I will say again, these Bloody Marys are fantastic. Thanks for sharing.
Absolutely.
I appreciate you guys having me in here. It's
Yep.
great.
Swing on in up there and see him.
Yeah, by all means, Log Cabin Bar. Again, Highway 6 going north from Crosby Ironton. You can't miss it. Just a few miles up the road there. You'll see Emily. Swing into the Log Cabin Bar. You'll have a good time, and be sure to have a Bloody Mary.
That's right.
There you go. Thank
All
you,
right.
guys.
Cheers.
Dan Barrett, our guest today, Log Cabin Bar in Emily. We're going to have another Bloody Mary, and that's going to wrap up this segment of Pubcast Live. Dan has exited the building, but I'll tell you what, that was a lot of fun.
That was great. Yeah, what a great guest.
And that Bloody Mary was fantastic.
Yeah, we're not just going to make that stuff up. We got to be honest, but I still get that nice after there's a lot of things going on in there, but I'm getting a little heat down low and I'm getting some spice, but it's not like in your face. I mean, it's not burn your face off.
Yeah, that
really
heat down low could be the vodka, but and I believe he said he used a little Grey Goose, but either way, it was delicious.
Yeah, no, and so you stop in there, you're going to get that same kind of Bloody Mary. That's what they do.
Yeah, fun place.
The other thing I liked is I loved what Dan said about, treating his locals and making them. I mean, if you've ever been to this bar, you can attest to this. It's a great place, and Dan and Fran just do a fabulous job up there. But if you treat your locals nice like that, they're happy in the bar. So the nice thing is when you're traveling through and you're not a local, I mean, you're from any other, Iowa, North Dakota, anywhere around that area, you can stop in there. You're going to feel welcome because the locals are happy.
Yeah.
And they want you to be happy there.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You ever notice that we have a lot of that going on here in the Lakes area? And I think it's because we're a vacation destination here
That's right.
in central Minnesota, the Brainerd Lakes area. Every bar and business knows that there are people from out of town, people who have never been into your business or establishment before in their lives walking through the doors, and you need to make that first impression. So
Yeah.
it's great to have people walk in, and people around here know that, so they treat you just like family.
Yeah, it's just way more fun to have a place like that that's fun to go to and welcoming. Everybody has a great time.
All right. Again, can't say it enough. Give it a shot. Log Cabin Bar in Emily. You will like it. Hey, by the way, we always like to remind our listeners that if you have a favorite bar that you would like us to talk about, we'd love to hear your stories.
That's right.
And love to hear you tell us about, what intrigues you about bars. And we've got a website and a number of different ways to contact us and let us know about bars we should be investigating or people that we should know about.
Yeah, or maybe a big event that your local bar, a charity event they do every year that's just is a great event. Let us know. You can always visit us at pubcast.live on the internet there. Just go to our website. Or if you want to email us, info@pubcast.live. That's LIVE. And, of course, find us on Facebook, Pubcast Live.
Yeah, that's that simple.
Yeah.
So if you got something special you want us to talk about, please let us know, and we'll be happy to talk about it right here on Pubcast Live.